Hello everyone, I'm Michael Greenwood and here's my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera original on a Xeon Crane 2 gimbal with the Metabones Micro 4/3 to EF mount speed booster and the Leica ELMARIT 28mm f2.8, which has undergone a Cinemod by Dualcloss and has the Canon EF mount. I've actually also got the original Leica R mount, but I don't own any Leica R cameras at this time. I've fitted a 77 to 82mm step-up ring since the Leica R 28mm has got a 77mm filter thread, and I'm using the Polar Pro Mist variable ND filter, which has a 82mm filter thread. This is the Peter McKinnon Mark II edition. It's 2 to 5 stops of ND, and the mist element of it is the diffusion. So I always go for 82mm filters and use step-up rings rather than wasting money and buying different sizes. This filter provides both diffusion and ND all in one, so I can keep my aperture wide open for that lovely bokeh, that lovely shallow depth of field, and keep my shutter speed at double my frame rate, or at least as close to double my frame rate as possible, and keep my exposure correct. If I'm shooting, for example, on the Canon 90D, then usually you can get it to about 50 if you're shooting at 24 frames per second, so you can't get it to 48 on there, so not quite. The Blackmagic, it works a little bit different because it's a cinema camera and you're looking at shutter angle, so we're setting that to 180 with the frame rate at 24. By the way, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera original, unlike the latest variants, like the 6K Pro, which I've also got, the maximum frame rate that the original does is 30 frames per second. So you can't really do slow motion on it. You can't film at 60 and put it down to 24 in post. I think the most you could do is 30 and put it down to 24, but that's not really going to be slow motion. So yeah, the ND filter, that's like having sunglasses for your lens. The diffusion element is obviously very flattering on subjects. If you were filming somebody, it would iron out wrinkles to an extent, depending on how strong the diffusion is. But please correct me in the comments below. I'm pretty sure it's 1/8 on this particular filter, so it's certainly going to soften any digital sharpness, and it's going to create that ethereal look. I have got an ARF, which is a Tiffin, I think it's a Tiffin Black Mist, and that is really strong. It's a really strong diffusion on that. So an 1/8 is quite subtle, really, and nice for if you're doing any portraiture or anything like that. I've shot most of this video using my trusty Canon 90D with one of my favourite lenses, one of my favourite Canon lenses, an L lens, the 135mm f2. I really love this lens. This is probably in my top 3 lenses, to be honest with you. One of my top 3 must be the Sigma 18-35 art lens, because that's so sharp and it's absolutely fantastic value for money. But I do love this 135mm. I find myself shooting with this a lot more than the 100mm L lens macro, the Canon EF, which is a macro lens, but you can shoot portraits with it and things like that. So just a small point, if you're considering buying this Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera original, make sure you've got plenty of these little batteries, these little Nikon type batteries. I've acquired quite a few of these now. They don't really last very long. Some of them last longer than others depending on which third party brand you've got. I've only got one which is branded Blackmagic itself, and I've picked up a few others. It does eat through these batteries at quite a rapid rate. If you're rigging out this camera, then you can go with the V-mount option or Sony MPF style batteries, which will give you a lot longer than these little batteries. Well, is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera original suitable for vlogging? Well, not really, due to the non-articulating screen, the manual focus, and the lack of continuous autofocus. It's got manual focus as well, and it's got a lack of continuous autofocus. So it does have an active mount, so if you've got a lens which does have autofocus, then you can press the focus button and it will do like a one-time focus, and it'll kind of focus on whatever is in the middle of the screen, but it does unt, and it kind of goes backwards and forwards. Sometimes you have to press it again to really focus in, so it's really not ideal. So if you're thinking of buying this camera then, and you're not sure about, if you don't have the technique of manual focusing, then that's something you do need to learn. I suppose in terms of vlogging as well, the monitor is the non-articulating screen is a problem. You won't be able to see yourself and make sure that you frame correctly, and you won't be able to see if you're in focus either. So I would recommend sticking a monitor on and facing it towards yourself, so facing it in the same direction as the lens. Something like an Atomos or even a Free World. Atomos is pretty much a really great monitor. Small HD is a really good one as well. Free World is more on the budget side, but they're probably one of the better budget ones. In fact, if we're looking at a budget monitor, I think it would be Free World, especially some of the recent ones like the LUT 6 and LUT 7, so the LUT6, LUT7, a bit like how you say lookup table. I'm not sure if they're going for the same kind of thing there when they're named Free Worlds, but they're really quite high nits of brightness and they're quite visible outside, so they're really good. I personally own both an Atomos Ninja Inferno and an Atomos Shogun Inferno. They're both 7-inch monitors and they're both recorders as well. The only difference between the two is that the Ninja just has HDMI in and out ports, whereas the Shogun has both HDMI in and out and SDI ports as well. So SDI is the more professional standard. They are full-size HDMI ports, so that's a really good thing. I am considering actually buying a Free World monitor as well, even though they're on the budget and they are really good. I did purchase one from Amazon, but I did send it back because I didn't need it at the time. I just I had a look at it and I thought, well, it's good, but it's not something I'm going to use at this time. But as time's gone on, I have decided that I probably do want to pick another one up at this time. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it will be a nice trip down memory lane for some of you. I'll be picking up a few more of these lovely little Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera originals, as I absolutely love them. Take care, and please share, like, subscribe and comment below, and bye for now.